Welcome back to all matrics who wish to ensure the best possible results in the 2020 CAT task set by the Independent Examinations Board. This video lesson was made for the grade 12 students at St. Patrick's CBC in Kimberley, South Africa. It is the second online lesson for the 2020 CAT task. If you haven't completed the preparatory work explained in the first video, I suggest you do that one first before getting stuck into this lesson. A reminder, the focus of this year's CAT task is the role played by cartoonists in driving social change and the impact that cartoons have as vehicles of social commentary. In the previous lesson, we looked at these essential questions using examples of cartoons for each one of them. In order to think more deeply about these overarching questions, I recommend that you spend some time watching the following video clips. Now, my students will have the links to the clips in the accompanying lesson notes. Other students will be able to find these clips easily after a quick Google search. In this clip, Patrick Chapate, a Swiss-Lebanese cartoonist, illustrates this 2010 TED Talk with various cartoons as he discusses the power of cartoons as political and social commentary. In this more recent TED Talk, Chapate puts forward the case for freedom of speech, imploring us to see why we need to allow satirical commentary in the form of cartoons. Again, he illustrates his talk with numerous thought-provoking cartoons. I hope that in your research for this CAT task, that you have come across Guy Berger, a South African who serves as the Director for Freedom of Expression and Media Development at UNESCO. UNESCO stands for the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and you should read up about its aims and goals. Guy Berger was an anti-apartheid student activist. He was arrested and sentenced to solitary confinement and imprisonment. Berger followed in the footsteps of the renowned Donald Woods, the journalist who befriended Steve Biko and was himself persecuted by the apartheid regime. St. Patrick's CBC pupils will recognize the name of Donald Woods, as he is a past pupil of our school in Kimberley. In this short clip, Guy Berger explains the dangers of state-sanctioned censorship. In this lengthy clip from the Al Jazeera network, a studio panel discussion explores the power of political cartoons. Now that you have watched these video clips, consider the essential questions again. Has your position on any of them changed? Why or why not? You already know that the CAT task consists of these 5 sections. In the previous online lesson, we completed this task 2. You should be working on the 2 formal tasks that remain. Task 5 is the speech, which you'll have to present using your own cartoons to put forward a case for or against censorship or some such topic as decided by your teacher. In this lesson, we're going to do a practice run of task 4, the CAT essay. Before I give you the material for this formative task, you should gather your notes on the techniques needed to analyze cartoons. You remember those examples that I gave you in the previous lesson? No? Well, let's recap quickly. You might want to pause the video to take notes on some of the slides that follow. When looking at a cartoon, start with the obvious. Identify what is shown, how the cartoonist has depicted it. This means looking at the characters in the cartoon, what they're doing, where the action is happening, what devices the cartoonist has used, and what words or captions have been used. Remember to use a variety of formal and correct language phrasing in your writing. For visual analysis, it is recommended that you work from left to right and top to bottom of each cartoon or picture. You should then identify the message of the cartoon. Many cartoonists make use of universal symbols to convey meaning. We covered some of these in the previous online lesson. Your choice of diction and language structure is important. Use phrasing such as these examples in your writing. Very importantly, your teachers, your moderators want to know what you think about the issues depicted in the cartoons. This is your opportunity to put your critical and analytical thinking skills on display. Write formally and lucidly as you explain your position on the issue. Right, you're as ready as you'll ever be. Let's do a formative assessment in preparation for the summative assessment that your teacher will set for you to write later this year. Here's your topic. Analyze the provided images. Explain the message that is conveyed by these images while discussing their effectiveness. Don't be intimidated by the word requirement. You should be able to write far more than the 700 words. But please don't. You'll be heavily penalized if you do. These are the provided images. You will see that I have selected 5 cartoons and 1 meme. This is the maximum number that you are allowed to have for your summative assessment later this year. The cartoons that I have used here all comment on the disparity that we see being exacerbated by the current online teaching scenarios. In this cartoon, you'll see one student being left behind as his peers race ahead in this online virtual classroom situation created by the enforced lockdown during the coronavirus pandemic. You should notice the boy's isolation, the use of the laptop screen as a portal into a new world, and the body language of the classmates who are obviously running into this new future. All around are the now familiar visual depictions of the coronavirus itself, the catalyst for this enormous change in education. This is the work of a South African cartoonist. Your analysis should discuss the use of labeling in this cartoon. Online school on the smartboard, the online attendance record on the teacher's laptop on her desk, her class register on her tablet, and the number of absent pupils indicated by the word offline on the majority of student laptops. And don't miss the exaggeration of the 3 closed-circuit cameras suspended from the classroom ceiling. The discrepancy between the haves and the have-nots is highlighted here. The well-resourced student with laptop, books, and notes is oblivious to the plight of the poor child outside. The tattered and patched clothing of the boy outdoors serves to amplify the lack of equity here. Note the reference to the pandemic with the simple addition of a protective mask on the boy's face. What good is a mask if he is denied access to education? Note that there is not a single word in this cartoon. No caption, no thought bubble, no dialogue. In this South African cartoon, words are used to contextualize the situation for the reader. The tuck shop is a uniquely South African service provider to many of the poorest sections of our population. Poverty is portrayed in similar ways by cartoonists. Tattered, patched clothes, broken shoes, the desperation of facial expressions. Did you notice the droplets around the faces of both this lady and the boy in the previous cartoon? Did you notice here the detail of the flies buzzing around the open rubbish bin? The outstretched hand of the foreign shopkeeper? The impossible choice faced by the mother, as read in the thought bubble above her head. Does she fill her daughter's plate or her daughter's satchel? The plate and the book bag. I'm sure you see the symbolism here. The Madam and Eve cartoon is more light-hearted in its depiction of some of the challenges of online learning. Do you think that this is a thought-provoking cartoon, or one that could be seen as an agent of change in our society? What is your response to this meme? It's the same message as some of the cartoons we've just looked at in previous slides. Is it more effective than the cartoons? My response to this photograph is far more pronounced than my responses to the cartoons. This is a real child, and we have so many children in this position in South Africa. The irony of this meme is not lost on me, as I sit at my desk at home working on my laptop to create this video lesson to benefit you, who are working in similar privileged circumstances. A closer look at the cartoons. What symbols do you see here? What has been exaggerated in this cartoon? What is the purpose of the labeling here? What analogy has the cartoonist made in this cartoon? What irony do you see here? Here it is again, your essay topic. You are to imagine that this is the summative essay topic, and the provided images are the ones that you have brought into the exam room. Don't panic, you can do this. When all else fails, read the instructions. Firstly, what is the pertinent current issue that has been identified in this collection of cartoons? You will have to write a formal essay that is argumentative, discursive, reflective, or a combination of all three. In an argumentative essay, you are putting together a persuasive argument using solid evidence to convince your reader to think the same way that you do about the topic. A successful argument should be able to change a reader's initial opinion. A discursive essay is a for and against essay. Here you give a balanced view, considering and acknowledging both sides of an argument. A discursive essay will ask you to discuss an issue. It is the writer's job to clarify the issue for the reader. The argumentative essay takes a stand, which should rebut any counter-arguments. In a reflective essay, the writer will show the reader how an opinion has evolved. There might be personal anecdotes in a reflective essay, in which the writer explains how and why he or she thinks in a particular way about a specific topic. No matter what type of essay you choose to write, your essay must be correctly structured. There must be a clear, engaging introduction in which you present your thesis statement. The body paragraphs support that thesis statement. Your conclusion summarizes your point of view and should leave the reader with a thought-provoking ending. My students are used to the P acronym used to construct layered answers. The same principles can be applied to paragraphs in this type of essay response. So you would make your point. You would provide evidence for that point from the cartoons. You would explain how your evidence from the cartoons proves your point, and you would link one paragraph to the next one so that there is a logical flow in your essay. Another useful acronym that my students know is FLAP. The format of this task is an extended essay in argumentative, discursive, or reflective styles. The language you must use must be formal, so no contractions, no slang or colloquial register or diction. You're writing for a particular audience, in this instance, for your learned teachers, examiners, and moderators. The purpose of this task is to explain what the message is of these cartoons, and more importantly, whether these cartoons are successful in conveying this message. So, there you have them, your question and your source images. What you have to do now is plan that essay, mind map, diagrams, words, whatever works for you. The planning and the writing should not take more than 1.5 hours. This is the time allocation for the CAT written task. You need to practice getting your thoughts on paper in the prescribed manner within the given time restraints. As a seasoned hockey coach, one of my oft-repeated pieces of advice to my hockey teams has always been, play as you practice, practice as you play. This is just as true for academics as it is for sport. I trust that you have found this video lesson helpful. I'm sure that your teachers would be willing to offer some feedback to you should you submit this formative assessment to them. Remember, with practice comes success. Good luck, Matrix.